guys, welcome to another episode of Xposure Runs the Podcast. I'm your host, Mustafa. I have two new guests in the studio. I want to set the landscape. I want to set this up first. All right, so to my immediate right, actually to my far right, let me set this up first. I met this gentleman about 2.5 years ago. I was working for an organization. I won't name the name. Fuck them. And we were trying to partner with his organization, or he was trying to partner with us with the organization he was working for. I don't even remember how we came to know each other. I think I was suggested to reach out to you for the organization that you were working for at the time. But that then materialized into you put me in touch with Marlon London when I was trying to put together a summer camp with the funds that this organization I was working for, that I was tasked with doing. So you put me in contact with Marlon London, who had access at the time to the historic St. Joseph's Gym. At the time, that St. Joe's Gym was respectfully on its last legs, if you will. Now, this is a gym and a school that produced some of the most legendary players in this state. I won't even say city, in this state. You got Isaiah Thomas went there, correct? Yep. Like the legendary Detroit Piston. Okay.
So bad boy.
Bad boy.
You got my boy Mike.
Okay. Then you have, of course, we'll say Marlon London. He's one of the legends that came out of there.
Absolutely.
We have Arthur A.G. and Gates. What's
Will Gates.
Will Gates.
Arthur Gates.
Then you have, who else went there? You had Kyle Thomas' dad went there.
Daryl Thomas.
Daryl Thomas.
And
Evan Turner went there?
Yeah. DC Daryl Cunningham.
Damn, I didn't know Evan Turner went there.
Yeah. E.T.
Shout out to Evan and his platform, because they got a great platform.
Absolutely, it's dope.
With his showcase and what he doing with his podcast. And who else came out of there? So those are the ones I know.
Daryl Cunningham, DC.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, all of those legends are, I won't say nothing, but they were molded and developed by the legendary, late, great Coach Pingator. What was his first name?
Ping. What was Coach Ping's first name?
I don't know.
I don't mean to disrespect. I just know Coach Payne.
Yeah, exactly.
Coach Payne,
and that's all out of respect.
Yeah, that's out of respect. Like you didn't call him by his first name, so why we even need to know his first name?
Exactly.
All right, so shout out to him. So I'd like to welcome Walther Christian Academy, class of 2024, recently signed to Marian University, Kris Hill, and we'll go ahead and class of whatever you, Dad. What high school did you go to?
I started off at Near North Korea Academy, right there, a.k.a. Cooley High.
Okay.
Right there back of Brittany Green.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, man, but you know, them boys, them GDs ran me up out of there.
Okay.
So I ended up transferring to Archbishop Weber High School.
Okay.
All boys. I graduated in 1990.
No, okay, 1990.
Yeah.
And then what college you went to?
I went to Triton College. Studied graphic arts.
And graduated?
That was, 93.
Okay, so 93. So class of 1990 and 1993.
Exactly.
Okay, so we want to make sure we get you.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate
that. All right, so we got Kris Hill and Dad, Darian Hill. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
What's up?
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
For both of you gentlemen, first with you are a advocate, and I mean huge fan of the platform. Like
Absolutely.
You tag us in everything that Kris do. When you're watching a podcast, you make sure that the world, not just I know, but that the world knows that you're watching it and that they should be watching it. And then, of course, Kris tags me in all his highlights and everything that you're doing. I'd like to first say thank you, gentlemen, to just being a huge advocate for our platform. And then you've been there since kind of the beginning, like the beginning of where we are now. Like I had started in 2020, but when I met you, I was just starting like with the camps and the showcases and all that. So I definitely want to thank you, gentlemen, for that.
Thank you. We appreciate you, man.
With that being said, we're gonna jump right into the interview. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, don't be nervous. Just remember some of the. Does Walther Christian got girls there?
Yeah, we got girls.
Oh, you got girls there?
Yeah, they got girls.
You got a girlfriend?
No, I don't got no girlfriend.
Ladies, he's single. Ooh. He's single. Your mom might be watching this. Because I know mom's going to be playing this shit. Your mom might see this.
His mama definitely don't play, boy.
I'm sorry, never mind. Ladies, he don't even trip. All right, first off.
They be in his DMs, this move.
I bet they do. But you're not supposed to, because his mom won't see that. Then she going to be, all right, we don't want to do that.
You're right, facts.
Kris, what is your favorite subject in school and why?
My favorite subject in school probably has to do with math. I like statistics, and I like doing numbers. I like money. stuff like that.
This is like the third person who's been up here and said they like math. Math is my, like, not even my least favorite. It's like my worst subject. Now, I know how to count to 10, of course, and I know how to count money. But all that other math, like...
It get hard when they mention shapes.
Yes, and
geometry.
Yes, and stuff that you're never going to use in your life. Well, until you put up curtains for your woman.
Absolutely.
Like, then you'll need to know that. But, yeah, okay.
Math is a good subject.
So why is math your favorite subject?
I like statistics.
Which is one of the hardest parts of math.
Yeah, like subtracting and stuff, finding out the average and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
Okay. This is your interview. Who's your favorite teacher and why?
My favorite teacher. I don't think I got a favorite teacher.
Okay,
I don't got a favorite teacher.
Okay.
Nah.
Who's your favorite staff, non-teacher, and why?
My auntie.
She work at the school?
Yeah, she work at the school.
Now, see, that's pretty dope.
But elaborate on
my auntie. It's not like a real auntie, but like, you know, you got your school auntie.
Oh, got you.
And she like, we hang out and stuff like that. She gave me like life lessons, just stuff like that.
So what is her specific role in the school? And what's her name?
Her name is Tracy.
Okay.
And her specific role, she just like helps and the staff. She
probably like the support staff, like culture and dean and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So shout out to Miss Tracy.
Help make the decisions.
Okay.
Shout out auntie.
What is your favorite meal, your favorite food?
My favorite food, rice. I love rice.
Like white rice, yellow rice?
It don't matter.
Just rice?
Rice.
Yeah, I love rice too.
I love rice.
Can you cook?
Yeah, I can cook some. Like, I can make like French toast. That's probably like my best thing.
Mine's too. Mine's too. Like, I got a little secret to my French toast that if I told you, I'd have to kill you. Okay, cool. What's your favorite pregame meal?
Favorite pregame? I actually don't eat. I don't eat before the games because like if I feel like I eat, it's gonna make me slow. So.
Okay.
So I don't eat.
So after the game, so after the game, win or lose, do you have a favorite win meal and a favorite lose meal, or you just want to eat?
Oh, after the game, I most definitely get Wingstop.
Wingstop. What's your favorite wing on there?
Garlic Parmesan.
That's my least favorite of them.
Garlic Parmesan, but I used to like hot honey before they took it out. Hot honey.
Okay,
rub.
Yeah, mine's is the Louisiana rub. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you cook?
What? Yes, sir.
Okay.
Real master.
Okay. Grill master.
What?
Challenge accepted.
Let's do it.
Challenge accepted. What's your grill specialty?
Anything, and I use charcoal. No lighter fluid.
Yeah. Me neither.
Yep.
And I use the lump coal.
Absolutely.
Got the chimney and the whole nine. And I said, okay.
For sure. It's on this summer.
Now, I don't cook no pork now.
That's fine.
Oh, okay.
I can do it all.
Okay, hold on now, Chief. I can, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me going.
Let's get it rocking.
And if it's 40 and above, I'm sparking that grill.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm accepting this challenge.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
We can do it.
You know, you don't take it personal, though.
Oh, shit. Okay. It do get like that. What's your favorite meal of the day? Breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
Dinner. Dinner is definitely my favorite. I don't usually eat breakfast.
Yeah, but so breakfast is one of those meals where, I mean, my wife, we just was talking about this yesterday because we went out to breakfast. I made her stay home from work. So I said, no, you ain't going to work. You're going to hang out with me today.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? And then we, went out and did a little shopping. But we went to breakfast. It feels like breakfast is one of them meals that as soon as you eat, you're hungry within an hour. And we just kind of came to the realization, whether this is scientifically proven or not, but it's Suleiman proven, is that breakfast, they always say, is the most important meal of the day, and I think it's one of those meals that get your metabolism going and telling you, and your body wants more. So I guess that's why they're telling you to eat, because I could do without it, but when I have it, it's like, all right, cool, I'm cool. But after I eat, I'm like hungry within 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So you said dinner. What's your favorite meal of the day, Pop?
Breakfast.
Breakfast?
Breakfast for sure.
What's a good breakfast for you?
You know what? Any kind of omelet, definitely with some grilled veggies. Okay. Yeah, definitely got that. My wife could kill me. She'd be like, "You and that old ghetto American cheese." You gotta have it, baby.
Okay.
But breakfast.
Okay, breakfast. Game of 1-on-1. You and your dad. Who's winning?
Me. He a football player.
Okay.
Play football.
He using football tactics on the court?
Yeah, they hacks.
The hacks.
They hacks. They hacks.
It's all defense.
When's the last time y'all played 1-on-1?
Last summer.
Did you beat him bad?
I gave him a slight point. He ain't really. I still won though.
Okay.
But I gave him a few points.
Okay. Now you also, Pop, have another athlete in the family with your daughter, correct?
Yes, indeed. Miss Marian here.
Yes, and she plays volleyball.
Yes. She wouldn't let me push her to her greatness, man. You know, it's made all Chicago Prep Conference and all that good stuff. When I felt like it was an opportunity for her to go to college on that volleyball court. She's like, nope, Dad, I just want to be a regular student.
A regular student. And that's how one of the reasons that we connected is because when I had my camp, I did unheard of. I did a volleyball camp, and I hired your daughter to do it. And the kids loved her.
Oh yeah,
they loved her. She was out there doing her thing.
There it is.
The kids loved her. So shout out to your daughter for
Appreciate that. And she actually asked about that one of the weekends I went down to ISU to get her. She was like, man, you still talk to your friend that do them camps? I'd love to do that again.
I bet. That money was right. Let's be clear about that.
Bag was light.
Yeah, that bag was light. You know what I'm saying? I feel good to be able to give our people, especially our young people, those opportunities.
Absolutely. It definitely made an impact on it. For sure.
I'm glad. And it made an impact on them kids, too, because volleyball is one of them sports that it seems that is usually offered in the Caucasian schools. Now, I knew I do know that CPS does have volleyball, but it's not as known as and pushed as but volleyball is a huge sport. Is it Dennis Rodman's daughter? No. She plays soccer. Jermaine O'Neal's daughter is one of the top volleyball players, and she just got drafted to a professional volleyball league. I just saw that. So shout out to Jermaine O'Neal and his daughter. I forget what her name is, but off the court, Kris, when you're winding down, you're trying to chill. What's your favorite thing to do?
Write and listen to music.
Write what?
I like writing. I like writing about like just my day and stuff. I like give me some tips for stuff like that.
You keep like a journal?
Yeah, it's at home though.
Do your journal got a name?
Nah, I don't got no name. It's just like I like mark it each day by day and see stuff that I can improve on or stuff that helps me.
Wow. So was this something that you started on your own? Was it encouraged by mom and dad? Like, how did this start? I
started on my own because like freshman year, it wasn't the best because I was a COVID baby. So it was like, I suffer from like anxiety and stuff like that. So like mental health is like very important for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And without going too detailed into your personal journal, like what type of stuff do you put in there?
Relationships, mental health, just stuff that I do on a daily basis and how I can keep on having fun.
Is this something that you feel like you're going to continue when you go away to school?
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna miss my family. Yeah.
Y'all are tight knit family. Y'all kind of remind me of my family a little bit. Y'all are pretty tight knit family. Y'all do a lot of stuff together. Yeah. Just father son, father daughter, husband wife and family. Like, talk about that, Dad. Like, how important is that? First, my first question is it's a two-part question.
Okay.
Explain your relationship specifically with your son and how important that is to you. And how you may think it's important to him, and then explain just the family dynamic as a whole.
Yeah, for sure. My Chrissy Poo, it's been a journey, brother. So originally, when you had a relationship with your son, it's different. You have your relationship with your daughter is different. Your relationship with your wife, etc. There's a lot of different dynamics.
Right.
But just specifically to Christopher, it was. Just looking back over it now to where we are, it's been a lot of ups and downs. From a standpoint of, when we bring the sports into it, because originally I took Kris out for football. That was my first love. I'll never forget, shout out to the coach Marian at the Hillside Hurricanes.
Okay.
So Kris went out there. He's always been just a fast kid. So I'm like, son, you get out there. I'll never forget, I got him a Carolina Panthers jersey with Cam Newton, but he had his name on the back.
Okay.
But when he got out there and the boys started pushing him around, he was like, nah, Dad, I ain't going.
This ain't it?
I said, son, just try it another day. Nope. And then, of course, Mama was like, don't make my baby do that no more. So went from there, and then next thing I know, the whole D Rose effect came about. He started, actually, before he really started watching the games, it was more of the statistics. He was doing the stats, like that clip I sent you this morning of the YouTube.
I will talk about that.
Yeah, so just doing the stats of the game, and then he got interested into it. That was around 4th grade, and it grew from there. But along this journey, man, it was times where I was part of the coaching staff when he was in middle school, and seeing that dynamic, our relationship really had suffered because it was like no separation of dad and son, dad and coach and player.
Okay, I'm going to touch on that because that's why I stopped coaching Xavier. For that, he couldn't, but I think more importantly, I couldn't.
Absolutely.
Shut it off.
Yep.
And I had to decide: do I want to coach and be dad, or do I just want to be dad?
Absolutely.
And I just decided to be dad.
Same.
I just stopped coaching him. And I remember it was a pivotal moment. I was coaching Xavier. And of course, you always feel like your child can give more. I feel like he's not giving more just because I'm dad.
Yep.
And so then you feel like you got to coach him harder because he's son.
Yes.
And one day we playing at the Matson Rec. I was subbing Zay out anyway, but part of the sub was because he wasn't really giving an effort. And then I wanted to sub someone. But his attitude coming off the court.
Yeah. And
I said, you know what? I don't even want you on my bench. Go over there and sit with your fucking mother in the stands.
Yeah.
Get off my bench. And he didn't play the rest of the game. This was like the second or third quarter. And of course, my wife was kind of like embarrassed like that. It's like, nah, fuck that. Like, nah. And then it just like, nah, I can't do this.
I think around, what was that, 7th grade? We made the pact.
Yeah. It was 7th grade.
I mean, it would get, you know what it's like. They can't get away from you on the court. They can't get away from that car ride. And then when you walk in the house.
You get home and you hold it, you can't shut it off.
No.
You can't shut it off because at some point it has to go from coaching him to now being a dad. And part of being a dad is not coaching him. It's kind of like, loving on him. And, like, they don't want to hear that shit. And they at the age now where they want to say, like, I don't want to hear that shit. So especially from you. Like, I hear this shit from my team and from my peers and from the other I don't want to hear that. And so, like, we kind of early on gave Xavier that lane, not so much to like I don't want to hear that shit, but
speak freely. We call it locker room talk.
Yeah,
say what you want to say.
Say what you want to say.
Because I'd rather a lot of people are like, oh, you shouldn't do kids like that.
Man.
No, they need to have some type of safe space. I'd rather them to come to me, have those conversations, and be as transparent as possible, than going to other resources that are not as trusted.
So let me ask you this: is part of that decision making of your family allowance / dynamic? Did that come from some of your background for what you do as it comes to social services and mental health and all of that?
Absolutely.
Because it comes from ours. My wife and I work in the schools. What she still does, I don't any longer. But what we started to realize is that a lot of these kids aren't being given an opportunity to be heard. And it's not saying that y'all right. It ain't even saying that y'all wrong. It's just that they're not even being given an opportunity to be heard. Yeah. Right? And It's just automatically they're wrong. And so I used to run my floor. Like, so the way that the school was set up that I worked on, we didn't do the classification of freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. We separated them by age. So it was 15 to 17 and then 17 and above because it was an alternative school and 21 was the cutoff. Okay. And so I had the younger group, but I was in charge of the teachers as well. And I made it with, my teachers really couldn't stand me. I shouldn't say they didn't stand me, but they didn't like being held accountable. And what I found in life is accountability is one of them things that a lot of people struggle with.
Absolutely.
And they struggle with it because no one ever held them to it. And then when you're trying to hold them to it, you have to be able to be held accountable as well.
You got to be able to receive it.
You have to be able to receive it. And so with the teachers, all teachers are tasked with holding children accountable for their grades and their behaviors and blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, we're going to hold your ass accountable too. Absolutely. Are you teaching the correct way? What's your classroom management like? Yep. Are you triggering the kids? Are you following their IEPs? Are you providing accommodations and modifications? Like, they couldn't stand it. They couldn't stand it. Sure. And so then we had a rating system, and I would let the kids rate the teachers. Ooh. They hated it.
Of course.
They went to my guy, Tyree, Mustafa, got the kids.
At the end of the day, they're like, oh, I'm educated. I got this, and that.
And that's all they fell back on.
Right.
But just because you have education don't necessarily mean that you're smarter.
Right.
A lot of these young people, what I found from being here, particularly when it comes to Chicagoans and Illinoisans, and particularly some of the kids that live in the inner city that don't have a us, right? Yep. Is that, first of all, trust is an important thing for them. Yes. And then second of all, they just really want to be heard. They okay with being held accountable. But at least they have stuff that's so bottled up that you want to discipline me and all of that. Cool. Right. But I got to, like, at least let me tell you why I did what I did, said what I said, acted why I acted. Yep. And then you can kind of like go from there.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of times they ain't being given an opportunity, and that's where things is lacking at.
Yeah. But that's definitely where it comes from. Being there, being around our own kids, seeing that, being within the community, because it's times my kids always say, man, you know everybody, but here it is, I'm speaking to these young kids. I make them speak. How you doing? Hey, what's up? But being in the people service, knowing that there's a need, knowing that at the end of the day, people just want to be heard.
That's it.
And hopefully you can provide them some type of solution. So that's where a lot of that comes about, to where, allowing our kids to express themselves. Now they know that, of course, as long as it's not disrespectful, let's talk.
Speak up.
I want you to say exactly how you're feeling, because I can't tell you how to feel.
And it's important, because then it'll help me be able to help you navigate
adjust
those
accordingly.
feelings. Right, right. How important is that in your family dynamic, but how important is that for you just in general when you out in the world and your teachers and your support staff and your peers? Like, how important is having that dynamic in your family for you?
It's very important. I'm a quiet person, so it's like just being heard helps me like express myself. I don't really like talk that much, so it's like, I try to talk as much.
Early on, when it was told, and then because you could be told something and then you have to kind of like see it for yourself, right? So how and I'm gonna tell you how I know this. How difficult was it for you being told that you have this space, and then recognizing that you have this space to do it? Like, how long did it take you to recognize it, and how difficult was it for you?
It took me just about this year to realize it.
Just this year?
Yeah.
Crazy. Let me tell you why. Because it took Xavier just about there. He's a freshman now.
Wow.
And I'm starting to see it with him, just the way he speaks. When he comes home from college, he's talking a little bit more with his chest. When he talks to me, he's no longer like, not so much like with his head down, but like, he's looking me in my eye. He's doing and saying things without being told. He has always had that relationship with Celeste where, when I'm getting on him, or even when he want to have something said to me, like he go through his mom, and it's like, it's like, well, why the fuck he ain't just come say that shit to me? Like, I mean, I know you've only known me for 2 years, but people like I'm the same way all day. Like,
consistent.
Just speak up, just speak up. So it was one day I told Xavier came to us one day and said he doesn't like, not so much that he doesn't like curfew, and I can't exactly remember how he put it, but it was combined with he doesn't really like curfew. He doesn't really like having to check in when he gets to and from places, and it was something else there, and I can't remember how it was, but it was along it. Yeah. So like when he said it, I kind of instantly got annoyed, and then I was like, you know what? I said, cool, give us a solution. You don't like something that we're doing in the house? Give us a solution. Like, not saying that we're going to do it, but here's your opportunity to be heard. We can compromise. We'll think about something. And you know what his little ass said? I don't know. So that was the first lesson right there. The lesson is you can not like something, but don't come to the table without the solution for what you don't like. I can say, you can tell me you don't like this red sweatshirt. All right, well, give me a solution on what color sweatshirt I should wear. I don't know. Then shut up.
Yeah.
Because when you get to a job or you get to college and you don't like something, or the coach says something, you don't come with a solution, or you don't like your playing time. What's the solution to that? Get to practice earlier. Work out. Watch some film. Lift some weights.
Have a conversation.
The young people got to learn that, at least in this generation, and what we have realized is, cool, y'all want to be heard, cool. Well, what you have to say needs to be worth hearing. And if I don't know is the answer, then
it's all emotion.
You shouldn't be heard.
But to finish that off, it's family dynamic and father-son dynamic.
I want that right there.
Yeah, it's knowing your person. Knowing that what you fed into them, what you poured into them, how you've nurtured them, the relationship that's been built, and trust. Because, that trust line, especially with young people. Yeah. I was telling Bo earlier.
Especially our boys, man.
Absolutely. One time, if a young person identify you as fake, whether it's your child or anyone, you done. You are cooked, as they say. Yeah. And it's hard to come back from that. As long as it takes to build that relationship
it's quick to ruin it.
In a whisper, it's a done deal.
It's quick to ruin it. What you saying that, Kris? Like, talk with the relationship that you and your dad have. Just kind of talk about it a little bit. And has there ever been a moment where you felt like, I mean, just to kind of steal from your dad, that he was not being, I won't even say fake, because I know there are times where our boys think like, oh, these niggas here. But did you ever feel like there was a time where he wasn't being fully genuine with you?
Nah, it was always genuine. I was just hard-headed when I was a little boy.
Okay.
So it was like, we really was, I wouldn't say butting heads, but like we'll just be like having disagreements. It was really like when I was younger, and then sophomore year was bad. I had went to St. Mel, Hardin St. Mel, and it was just like basketball was getting difficult. I wasn't getting enough playing. I felt like I wasn't getting enough playing time. I was better than these dudes. And then it was like one instance, I was killing this one game, and then the coach was like, I didn't make the right pass, but we still scored. And I was like, that's the right pass right there. And he just sent me to the locker room, and I ain't played like the rest of the game. And then after, he told my dad a different story, and we was just arguing in the car. And it was just like,
we was at Wheaton Academy, right?
we was at Marian.
Marian. So that ride from Marian
To
all the way to
Broadview.
Broadview was, and one of his buddies was riding as well. So,
And you, that conversation was based off of what somebody told you that he did. Were you at the game?
yeah, I was there. I got there late, right?
He came to the varsity one. He wasn't at the, I was playing JV at the time.
So you didn't see exactly what happened.
No, but the Eye in the Sky, the NFHS, I was able to see. I heard both versions, and ultimately what it came down to was the coach felt like it was disrespectful. If he, Kris has, people say that he has this thing of body language, et cetera, but if, I feel like this, as when you are managing young people, and really you're not managing them, you're managing the situations that they're going through. When that takes place, a lot of times, especially when there's a generational gap, a lot of times some of the things that young people do, it's gonna piss off an old school. Yeah, they the coaches. I know better, but my disappointment, I think at that time, what I wanted Kris to see was, at the end of the day, they want you to listen. And that's so difficult. It's so difficult. But that's a growth moment. And now, could I have probably handled that differently? Oh, it went up. It went up.
And I believe so. I've had a few moments with Xavier like that, and I got so many questions. You said what you wanted Kris to realize in that moment is he should have just listened, as opposed to responding in that moment, right? That's what you're saying.
Yep.
I've had moments with Xavier like that where, and some of them not even basketball related. It's just like his body language. Xavier, because he's provided a space in our home to be heard, he wants to be heard. And so like you said, older people, they have a difficult time because we come from the generation of being seen and not heard. Absolutely. And then that generation comes from not even being seen or heard. And I feel like each generation has kind of evolved a little bit, but older people, male and female, I feel like I'm going to assume that your coach is white. From that you.
Nah, he was black.
He was black. Okay.
But touch on that. I see where you're headed with that.
Right. So it's two things. First off, I do know that a lot of white older men have a difficult time allowing young black men to be heard.
Okay.
But then when you said the guy was black, he probably comes from the generation of either being heard nor seen or being seen and not heard. And so he probably did have a difficult time. And so what probably also went into that, and I'm not even saying that he's right, but also what went into that is probably how the body language.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right? Or probably the exact moment that Kris wanted to be heard. So the difficult part sometimes for young people is trying to figure out the time frame of when to be heard.
Absolutely.
It's like, it's not that I don't want to hear you, but I can't hear you if I got to manage 11 other people.
Absolutely.
Or if it's in the middle of a game.
Absolutely.
Or my emotions is running high as well. And I'm not even saying that makes it right either. But it takes somebody, the adult, to recognize I'm not even in the right frame of mind to allow that space to be heard. Think about the times in the home when you guys are allowing Kris to be heard.
Right.
It's usually kind of calm, probably after y'all at 8 or maybe right before. Y'all probably laughing and joking, but there is allotted space there.
Yes.
Usually on those game situations, everybody emotions is running high. Again, I'm not saying your coach is right or wrong, but we used to deal with this shit with Xavier. But the difference slight difference, respectively, between myself and Celeste and you and your wife, and I don't even know what your wife does for a living, but is that we worked in the school, so we understood that dynamic.
Yep, absolutely.
And so when we would go to the schools after they called us for a behavior situation with Xavier, it's now like we had like questions. Like, what was your classroom management like? You know, what was he doing? You know, it'll be times where I would be mad that the teacher Xavier was talking, and Xavier was like, well, I wasn't talking. Like, I was with the group of people who was talking. Yeah, sure, I was there. And sure, I even laughed at the shit because, I mean, the shit was funny. But you are getting on me for laughing and not the person who said it. And so now it became a thing of like, no, you punishing the wrong person. You punishing my child because he laughed.
But you know what? I take we've had several instances like that. What I always tell Kris and Ariane is that you're being held to a higher standard.
It is. And on top of that, what was also happening, I'm going to let you finish that thought, is that teacher or that administrator, the kid who said the smart shit, don't have the family support at home.
Bingo. That's it.
So, you know, it's kind of like, well, I know his dad will get on him and correct for laughing because if he doesn't laugh, then that kid doesn't have that audience. It's like, nah, fuck that. No, because at the end of the day, they still children.
Right.
There's still a maturity thing there. And quite frankly, this shit was probably funny. So you need thicker skin. And in some cases, that people like, oh, you were bald here, well, you are bald. Or you know, like you got on dusty shoes. The shoes are dusty.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So like, this shit is funny. Like, you gotta have thicker skin.
But you know how that is. You know, especially around kids. Kids will roast you up quick. And being in front of a group of young folks, you know, just last week we were working a mentoring camp. And shout out to College Mentoring Experience. They the one young fella, little fella, my boy DJ Brooks, brother. He said, how old are you? You like 61, ain't you? I'm looking like, I want to say your mama, but I know them personally, but I also know kids. You think that's funny, right? But I also know kids.
They don't know about it.
Kids, what they always say, it's only a few things that's going to tell the truth. A drunk person,
a child,
a spandex, and a child.
A child. Oh, a spandex. Wow, that's funny as hell.
Spandex.
That's funny as hell.
What you gonna hide? What you gonna hide in spandex?
and we didn't take just a moment just now, that would have went over a lot of people's heads.
What?
Spandex tell the truth.
Spandex gonna tell it all, bro. Kids, a drunk person in spandex. You can't hide from none of that.
That's funny as shit. I ain't gonna lie. That's funny as shit. I'm so immature, I can't even focus on the message that's funny as shit. That's funny as shit. I don't know if you remember this phone call I had with you, because as we're talking, it's triggering something. I don't know if you remember a phone call you and I had when I was working at this company. And Maris had called, and they were trying to suspend Xavier for what they called bullying another student. And this is what happened. And when I tell you that my wife lit into these two white men when we got to the school, they accused Xavier of bullying this girl at school because they were busting on each other, and he fried her ass. So she goes home and complains to her mom, of course, like any kid would do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And the mom called the school and gave this, that, the other, the third. And then another instance where Xavier had gotten to an altercation, or another kid got into another altercation, and they were sharing a video, and they tried to say Xavier was bullying them. It's like, first of all, using the word bully in the school is equal to or as worse as using the word bomb in an airport.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, yeah. The whole bullying.
You're not going to label my fucking son a bully. No, we're not doing that. And if you want to see a bully, you bully here. Right, and so they tried to really get on it, and at the time I was having a conversation with your dad, and I had just kind of the phone with him. That really had to calm me down because I was really gonna go up there and hurt somebody. Y'all want to see a bully? Cool. Well, I'll give y'all. Let me show y'all so y'all can have the proper definition of a bully. And that's usually what happens when you're dealing with our Caucasian peers and they're dealing with our African American children. They don't really understand certain cultures and certain
cultures collide.
Yeah. And so, you know, just to kind of tie this all back into a bow is that a lot of times, you know, when you guys are getting opportunities to be heard, it is also thrusted upon your responsibility of knowing when to be heard. Not everybody is going to give you the space that you get in at home. It's your job to carve out that space with people who don't know you. Like you have a baseline of space that you get at home to be heard as an individual, as a young man, as a black man, as a sibling, and as a son, right? That's like 4 or 5 different things. You got to find, when you get to college and even the rest of the school year, you got to find an opportunity to carve out your own niche. It's not, you should never accept not being heard, but you definitely should be able to understand and accept when to be heard. That's your responsibility to kind of figure that out. But it's also your responsibility to make sure that that person that you're trying to be heard from, that they respect that. Like, no, you're going to hear me. Like, I deserve the right to be heard, and I'll figure out how to make you hear me, but you're going to hear me, but respectfully. Yeah. And then sometimes you might have to go there with a person. Like, it is what it is. You deal with that, yeah.
One Sagittarius to another.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's worse in itself. Because we going to be heard.
Yeah.
You going to hear me. Well, either I'm going to yell, I'm going to curse, or I'm going to talk.
Yeah.
It's your decision on which one you get.
What do you say?
And I can do all
how
three.
How you want this smoke?
How you want this smoke? How you want this smoke?
Sure.
Okay. You missed your entire junior year. Why? What happened?
So I went to Providence St. Mel my sophomore year, and it didn't work out. So in the summertime, me and my dad had a conversation. It was after a summer league game, and I was like, "This not finna work out. I'm not finna go here."
I remember your dad hit me up about this, but go ahead.
I'm not finna go here for another year. And he was like, "We gotta look at some schools." So it was either first the CTK, Christ the King coach wanted me, but he didn't want to do that again. And then Michelle Clark, but no. And then Walther Christian came up. My coach now coached me in 4th grade on my AAU team.
Okay.
Then the other one coached me on this league in 5th grade.
So there was some familiarity.
So some familiar faces. So we just made the decision in the summertime that I was going there. So I transferred, I get there. We were practicing, and I wasn't thinking of it. I'm thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna play. And then my coach hands me a paper, and it's like, I can't play. I'm ineligible for the season. I have to sit out the season.
So who ruled you ineligible? The IHSA?
IHSA, yeah.
And what was their reason? What did the paper say?
Transfer without a address change, private to private. I forgot. And at one point, I had remembered that article or whatever the bylaw was. I remembered it by heart. I think it was bylaw number 6. I was like, wow. Of course, the whole process. I went through the appeal process, tried to get it going, had the appeal meeting. They still upheld the decision to hold them ineligible. But of course, we know how the landscape of basketball goes throughout Chicagoland area. I'm not going to teach my son how to lie. I'm not going to teach him how. The kid's going to lie on their own. So I'm not going to endorse that. But when it all said and done, IHSA ruled him ineligible because it was a transfer from private to private without an address change.
That's what they said.
Address change as well as other legitimate extended circumstances.
Circumstances.
And I collected
so when
data.
They say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. When they say address change, when you go from private to private, it doesn't matter what address you use because you're paying for school.
That's right? What I thought.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm asking, and I'm asking rhetorically because I know this because I sent my child to a private school.
Yeah.
All right. So they said because of the address change.
No address change.
No address change. So meaning basically what they were saying, they were holding you guys to the standard of living in that school's district, if you will.
Technically. Yeah. Well, it's crazy because we were going from Broadview to the west side of Chicago to a private school.
At the initial school.
Yeah.
And nobody said shit about that.
That was so how it went about. St. Joe's closed, and of course you had the opportunity to go to some of the schools within the
Gotcha.
within the brotherhood of that particular private school. I got to say network. I think St. Pat's was in there, a couple of others. But then we already made our choice. My daughter attended St. Mel, so it was like, you know what, familiar faces, good folks over there, and our thing has always been making sure that we place our kids someplace where we know that we can reach somebody that's there for them. Relationships are so important.
Oh, very.
Very important.
Very important.
Some good folks over there. Shout out to my guy, Coach Tim Irvin, who's no longer there, and a few others. So familiar, new to school. West Side, know the neighborhood and everything. So it was easy. Now, mind you, going from Broadview to the West Side, that commute in the morning is about 40 minutes.
Right.
When you can leave at night and get there on the West Side 6 minutes to our great out West Illinois. So. And mind you, so it was a lot of different things, making sure there was a good fit socially and academically. And that was the biggest things that I'm trying, my mind said, make it happen, you'll be good, seeing you. But actually seeing my son just not flourish, not grow, it was almost like he didn't have that safe space to kind of like, hey, I'm gonna be okay, I'm gonna make it through. But to see him struggle on so many different things, it's like, you know what, it's time to go.
So let me, and I know you and I had a little bit of a conversation in regards to this, because I kind of went through this when Xavier transferred from Marist to Oak Lawn. So two things happened for us. Initially, they didn't necessarily rule him ineligible, but there was some question. But here's what I found out, and this is what I was trying to tell you, is that the school themselves can fight the transfer.
Yeah, and
the AD and the principal. They had the principals and ADs of the schools have to sign off on the transfer, and if one doesn't sign off, they then have to find. They can't just say, "Oh, I don't want to." They can't just say on the paper or just to anybody like, "Well, no, he can't leave our school because I don't like him and I don't want him to go and be." They can't say that shit. So they have to find a bylaw because that paper says that. I've seen the paper.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh.
And I'm not from here, so I'm gonna expose all this shit. I've seen that paper, and on that paper is like a question. I forgot how it was worded, but the principal and the AD, and if they're one and the same, and sometimes it's two different people, they have to sign on. And I think the president of that particular, when it goes Catholic to Catholic. Usually, if you go from Catholic to public, it's not really a big fanfare. It can be, but it's not. If you're going Catholic to Catholic, yeah, they're going, because it makes their Catholic network look stupid. Right? First of all, if you're not. All right, I'm about to turn this into a religion thing. It was almost rant time.
But
it was almost rant time.
At the end of the day, I think we as parents, we identify spaces for our kids to be the best version of themselves. Now, and more than likely, kids can learn anywhere, but it's the environment.
It's always the environment.
So that's why the choices of a faith-based education,
whether Quaker, Catholic, or
monastery,
Lutheran,
yes, exactly.
Yes.
So it's the environment that you want to make sure that is productive for your young child to be in.
Coming from two people that. Well, I know I went to a public school, then I went to a military school, but like knowing with the public schools, with all due respect, that the Chicagoland offers, I worked in a kind of a public school with some Chicago-based whatever. It's like, I'm not sending my child there. I'm going to send him somewhere. And when it came down even to transferring, Xavier had, of course, the space to speak up. He wanted to go to the Kenwoods and the Blooms and the Simeons, all these schools that wanted him. And with all due respect to their basketball programs, it came down to my wife and I was like, academically, bruh. Basketball, that's great, and you're gonna shine wherever you go. But academically, it don't check. This school don't check that box for us. Okay, it checks a half a box for us. Right. This school don't check no fucking boxes at all besides basketball. And so when we came down to it, when we moved here and was researching schools for Xavier in 6th and 7th grade, Oak Lawn High School, not even knowing the whole district, it checked all of our boxes. It was a blue ribbon school, the community, the this, the that. We just didn't live over there. And initially we tried to go there, it was a no-go. Then they denied Xavier. Oak Lawn did. They denied Xavier and said that, and we had we moved over there. Right? And they denied him initially. And we knew that school jargon. And we knew that whole McKinley veto.
I tried all that. I tried all that.
And it's like, cool, y'all want to deny him? We'll see y'all in court. And I found out when we fought it. I went through the superintendent. We did everything the right way. We ain't do nothing
right.
bad.
Follow the protocol.
But we followed all the protocol. But then when the superintendent told us, like, okay, cool. First of all, they overturned it. I found out that we were one of the only families that ever had a decision like that overturned in Oak Lawn School District. So they overturned it. They allowed them to come. And they tasked a regular, I don't know what they call them in the schools, but the NTAs, the little behavior people, they tasked her with being the person that go out and do the checks. The truancy lady. But she was just a regular little staff lady. I found out she was salty as fuck because she was the reason. It was her decision to deny him, and then they overturned it.
Okay.
And so then one of the things that the superintendent told us was like, okay, cool. We're going to overturn it, based off of what you're saying. If it's all true, but and then he gave me the warning, like, but if we find out that it's not the case, we have the option to either deny him and send him back and fine you, or just fine you. How much is the fine? We got the check. How much is it?
Yeah.
And he told us it was like 10,000, 50. He was like, okay, we'll have the check ready. So when that if y'all make that decision, because we know y'all gonna keep looking.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The check will be ready. And so my guy Tyree was like, how they wanted it, in pennies, quarters, nickels, or dimes. So we had all of that ready, prepared for that. Sure. Thank God it did not really. But they came, they did the checks. They checked at our apartment that we had in Oak Lawn. Yeah. They checked at, my wife's house. They did all that. And one of the days that they had one of the truancy people sitting outside, I called the cops on his ass.
Yeah.
I got a 6-year-old kid. It's a strange white man sitting outside my house. I knew who it was.
Yeah, for sure.
I have children. I think he's going to kidnap my child. They came and checked that motherfucker out.
Oh, you're hilarious, man. You are hilarious.
Then they came. Then I saw them leave, and I go out there like, well, you're not going to take them? They're like, well, we can't. I'm like, well, what's going on?
The whole thing.
Trolling. Then I trolled the shit out of them. All school year until they stopped.
You would do this.
That's Sagittarius shit.
Sagittarius.
All school year until they stopped. And then finally, one day, I almost went out there to like confront the dude. Yeah. And I said, this will be the day that this white dude sitting in this, it was like a green minivan. Looked like some pedophile shit. Like his ass will pull a gun, I'll pull my gun, and then it'll be an issue. Let me leave this motherfucker alone because they ain't got nothing.
Fall back.
Let me just chill.
That goes back to what we were discussing before, time and place.
For everything.
For everything.
So I said, no, it's not worth the headache. Fuck
Especially as long as you got what you want.
I got what I wanted.
Yeah. Say less.
And so that's the problem with Sagittarius, right?
Y'all can't let it go.
95, let me tell you something about Sagittarius. And you live with one and my wife is married to one. 95% of the time we get what we want. Yeah. It's that 5% that we like, yo, it should have been 100. So I'm going to make you suffer.
My dad's a Sagittarius as well. So it's.
Am I lying?
No, you're not lying.
So we get what we want 95% of the time. Whether we get it off the back or we fight for it, we'll get it. Absolutely. But it's that 5% that we can't let go.
Y'all want more.
It should have been 100. Why you make me wait that other 5%? Piece of I give him hell, bro. I give him hell. All right, so we got the reason why. Yeah. How difficult was it when you got the news that you were in? It
was difficult. It was very difficult. I didn't know what to do for I could still practice, but it was like There was no point of playing.
Did you think about quitting?
Yeah. I thought about quitting, but I was like, I came so far. There's no point of quitting. So I just worked out every day. I worked out every day just to stay in shape and wait for AAU season. Yeah.
I know, I'm sure your dad knew, how sad, frustrated, and upset you were about this decision. This was my first question that I wrote last night when I was coming up with your questions. I want you to look at your dad. I want you to give him one word, one feeling, or one phrase that you had that he has no clue that you felt.
One word, one feeling. Loss. Loss. Yeah, loss.
Wow. It actually kind of gave me chills a little bit.
Yeah, that's heavy.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
Because you didn't know that.
I didn't. And especially, you try to provide your kids
everything,
so much.
And you try to anticipate and proactively.
That's why we can't sleep.
This is going to happen. He's going to feel this way, and so you're now gearing your preparation to help him because you already think that he's going to feel this way, but yet he feels that way. You wasn't prepared for that way.
Unpredictable,
right?
Wow.
Which I'm gonna jump down. The other day I was talking to my nephew. my older brother from Kindred, right? His son, his oldest son. And he laid some. I talked to him for about 2 hours. His name is Akil.
Nice.
He was a college student at Morehouse, and he laid something heavy on me, like really, really heavy. As listening as a nephew, I mean, as an uncle, but also kind of putting him, because him and Xavier are about the same age, and he's the oldest of all of our siblings. So like all the kids kind of look up to him, whatever. He said, I said my nephew schooled me the other day and said that parents really don't know their kids like we like to believe, good or bad.
Absolutely.
And when he laid that shit on me, right? And not to put him out there, and I don't want to get into why he told me this, because he was explaining like a conversation him and his dad was having.
For sure. He was venting.
But it really kind of touched me, because like I thought about it like, damn, that's deep, because I do try to always anticipate, good or bad, how Xavier is feeling, and when I'm right, I usually kind of like pat my, like I knew he felt that way, and I knew I was able to. But when I'm wrong, it really gets under my skin to a point of like, damn, how did I miss that?
Yep.
And how the conversation came up with him and his dad, it is, how on earth does he even feel that way? He don't really understand that.
Right.
And we make the mistake of thinking that our kids, regardless of the age, but now at a more mature, older age, that they don't have the feelings that they have, but it's for them. We're basing what we think that feeling should be off of us.
Exactly. We still see them as little kids.
Not so much we even still see them as little kids, but we're basing what they're going through from an adult lens.
Absolutely.
And not a young adult or a child lens. And so when he said that, I thought back to all the moments of Xavier expressing like he felt this way, and sometimes feeling, not all the time, like, how on earth could you feel that way? You don't know nothing about that. Because I'm looking at it from an adult lens and not from your lens. Do you find that sometimes to be the case with your dad and just adults in general?
Nah, not with my dad. He like kind of brings it out of me, because usually I'll just like keep it to myself. But like with other adults, yeah, they just brush it off and stuff like that. So I usually like go to him to talk, or my mom. Yeah.
As you're becoming a young man, what current life lessons has your dad taught you that you'll always carry with you?
Always stay stoic. Don't let nobody see your emotions. If you're mad, sad, just always keep a smile on your face.
Okay. How did you deal with the sanity or maintaining your sanity watching your peers play during your junior year?
Support them. I always get support, show love. I usually just worked out too with them. We was always at practice.
Okay. No matter what team that you would play on, what current player would you like to have played with? So whether they came to Walther Christian or you transferred to that school, what current player would you like to play?
In high school.
In high school.
That's a tough question. I don't think I got one.
Okay.
To be honest, I don't got one.
Okay. What about from the previous 2 to 3 years? What player would you have wanted to play with? So from Zay's class of 23 to 21.
Oh, I got one. Never mind.
Okay.
He goes to Oakland actually. Corey
Lee.
Corey Lee. That's my boy.
Okay.
Agent Zero.
Okay. All right.
Corey Lee or my little cousin. His name Deontay Meeks. He go to Fenwick.
Okay. Describe your high school coach. What is he like?
Coach Jeff, he's a very chill dude. He doesn't you don't really see him go off that much unless you make him mad. He really gives you a lot of freedom and lets you do what you got to do, and coaches you up. So.
Okay. Describe the AAU scene, the circuit. Do you feel like it's necessary? Do you feel like y'all play a lot of basketball? Like that whole. Describe that.
It's very necessary. I mean, it's necessary. You play a lot of basketball. You play 2 to 3 games. Always post your clips. Always post your highlights. Tag the right people. Build connections. And you play a lot of basketball. It's very fun. It's more fun than school ball, I feel like, because you have more freedom in AAU than school ball, depending on your coach. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm glad you added that part. Depending on your coach. What was your recruiting experience like? And what were some of your likes and dislikes?
My recruiting experience just really happened. First, my offers just came in this past month. It was very good, but also very tiring. Also,
okay.
you go on these college visits and stuff. I feel like it's more tiring from like a school standpoint because you got to come back to school and then you got to do all the work.
Right.
But it's very good. You learn a lot of new stuff about all these colleges. Like you assume this is what this college is about, but it gives you a whole new perspective on what the college actually is.
You said your recruiting just picked up the last few months. Do you, with all due respect to the fact that you signed to Marian, which I'm going to assume you and your family, specifically you, found that particular college was right for you, were you, what, do you feel that if you would have waited, maybe something better would have, wait, no, let me take that off the board. I don't want to ask you that because that'll make it seem like you would have found something better than Marian. I want to say, was there thoughts on if you would have waited that maybe something else would have came along? Maybe something higher or, something a little more, something higher, respectfully.
I don't think so. I think like when you're making your college decision, I feel like you should go somewhere where you're wanted, not where you're not needed. Okay. Like don't go to a school like where they already have like 3 point guards at your spot. I mean, it's okay to compete. It's always good to compete, but it's like you would rather go somewhere where you're wanted and they need you.
Why did you choose Marian? What about the staff in the school did you see?
Oh, they show love. Coach Jones, Coach Diener, they're very genuine dudes. Like very genuine. Mainly like the support. Like it was mainly like putting on like the jersey, doing stuff like that, and just giving me a tour around the school and saying how much they need me and stuff like that. That's like a good feeling.
Where's Marian located? It's in Iowa?
Fond du Lac, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. How far?
2 hours.
2 hours. So that's perfect for you. Just far enough, just close enough.
Exactly.
Xavier's 2 hours too. About 2.5 hours.
You can get as you need it, but you can stay away from what you don't want to see unless they playing ball and honor roll.
It's perfect.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
For sure.
Did you choose Marian because of that distance as well? I know what you said about the coaches and the staff in the school, but what else went into your decision-making process?
It was really like basketball, but also it's like a quiet space. I don't like nothing loud. I don't like really going outside as much. So it's like being in quiet space, but the space doesn't help either because like I miss my family and stuff like that. So yeah.
How talking about that? How? And I know you can't answer it, and kind of accurately until you're in that situation. But how do you think you will be able to, handle or deal with what is your plans to deal with those moments of missing your family?
Call them. Mainly get on the call and stuff like that. Just try to find new people to hang out with. And then, like, try to visit them as much as I can and stuff like that.
I'm here to tell you that shit is going to last maybe a month.
Exactly.
Maybe.
It's going to go from what? FaceTimes, phone calls, text? To nothing.
Yeah.
I believe it.
At the very least, Zay will text the group chat to say that that was a requirement. Like, he has his card there. Like, when you leave in campus, you got to text us to let us know where you're going. But, yeah. That'll last about a month.
I watched that with my daughter. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. And the difference between Kris and Xavier, which when he went to school, he had a little lady friend when he went to school. I don't know really what their situation is now, to be honest. And honestly, she is a nice young lady, but their relationship to us was one-sided. And I always raised Xavier of like, bruh, you're the catch.
Yeah, for sure.
And we just didn't really like a lot of the. They gonna kill me for this shit.
Yeah, no doubt.
I already know where you're going.
Yeah, we didn't.
Probably is.
Yeah, he definitely is. And that's if he even watches it. And this will probably get made a reel. So
right.
Yeah, and it definitely is. Their relationship to me was one-sided, and again, nice young lady, very pretty young lady, but we didn't feel. And here, and this goes back to what I said, like, we don't really know as the parent.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
But just what we saw either on the surface and just kind of diving in a little bit.
One-sided.
It was one-sided, and we feel and felt like Xavier, from a standpoint of, how do I say, could have done better without dissing her?
He had other options.
Other options.
He could have surveyed other
He could have surveyed other options. He could have surveyed other options, and I don't even know if he had other options.
Right? Check the stock.
But to be fair to him, without getting him in his, for her to, because I don't want him to be like, oh, you was out. This was me.
About to get blasted.
That's cool. And he better learn how to. It was me as dad. Like, bro, it's
know your worth, King.
It's other women out here, pimp. You about to go to college, you got to get out here and get your royal oats out there. Like, you got to see, you know what I'm saying? Because I went through it.
Yeah.
Like, my wife and I went to the same high school. When I went away to high school, and when I went away to college, she went away to college, and we went to like separate colleges, but they were like close enough.
Yeah.
But she broke up with me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you want to go to be a whore?
Oh. Hey,
cool.
Moo, you better throw your head in before you go in the house tonight.
No.
He said worse.
And it was like, okay, cool. Then that's what I'm going to go do.
Right.
And I was only in college for a semester.
Yeah.
See, now you gotta
I gotta chill.
Fall back, killer. We just said, and furthermore,
let's just say that I made my semester well worth it. Fuck out of here. But I wanted him to be more, it's like, yo, you going to college, you gotta get out there and know people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what she gonna go do.
The growth.
Yeah.
So
evolution.
Yep. Yeah, you're going to meet a lot of people, and it's going to be good. First, let me say this: college is by far the best years of your life. Nothing is going to come close.
Elaborate on that, move, because we hear a lot of people saying, and everybody has their own opinions and their own beliefs. But my thing is, we hear a lot about, college is a ripoff. College.
Oh, it's still a ripoff, but
I think it's more pros than cons.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
And when I say ripoff, I just mean kind of like from a financial standpoint. We're in the era now where they try to make you seem like you need a college degree to do X, Y, and Z, and you can really go get a trade or just kind of teach yourself. I didn't get a college degree to do this, and I'm actually pretty effing good at this.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't have a degree for this. I could have went and got a communication degree, some type of certificate, which I still might do just on the strength of the shits and giggles of it all, but I don't have that, right? So college is the best years of your life because it's the one place that you will get a chance to network from start to finish. You'll meet people of all races, ages, ethnicities, sexual orientations, because now we live in an era where everybody is a letter. You will meet professors who the dynamic of their life is directly tied to what they're teaching and how they're teaching you. Just living on campus. I mean, just kind of, and now you don't have mom and dad like waking you up to go to class, making sure that you eat, making sure that you get to practice on time or early, because on time is early in college. So if practice is at 1 o'clock, your ass better be in that gym at 12:30. I'm just letting you know, this is the dynamic of being an athlete in college. Right, so coach says practice is at 1, be at the gym at 12:30. Right, stretching with your sneakers on, getting some shots up, and preferably already sweating, because at 1 o'clock you shouldn't already be coming in the gym and still got to do all that shit. So 30 minutes, at the very least 30 minutes. All right, and then college is also one of them places where I'm not an advocate, and I think Kris, you'll understand this as a Sagittarius. I'm not an advocate of reinventing yourself. Who I am is who I am. Unapologetically me. Take it or leave it. Because there's no gray area with me. I don't deal in gray. I do black or white. Right? But college is the one place where it is accepted that if you're not really sure of who you want to be, you'll get a chance to kind of like iron out those wrinkles. So whoever you are now, and you still have some questions about, I think I want to be this. No, I think I want to be that. Or I want to show that, like, college is that place where you get a chance to kind of iron all that out, to kind of perfect who you want to be.
personal proving ground.
That's what it is.
Yep, that's what,
and you get a chance to test out some of that thug shit too. Like, yeah, this is me, accept it or not. You get to kind of, test it out on some people up there.
Yeah.
College, I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
And I think
every minute of it.
I think that's what's so, in our community is I think that's one of the many things. It's like a vetting process. As you, you get to go through and hit all your check marks and then be like, oh man, I'm gonna circle that. I might need to redo that.
I might need to redo that. And you'll get a chance to redo it.
Exactly.
When you get out of you get quite a few of those motherfuckers. When you get out of college and like really get into the adult world, you don't get redos. You don't get redos. So you get quite a few different redos in college. You get to redo that test. You get to redo that class. You get to redo whatever you want with that girl. You get to redo a lot of shit in college. When you hit the real world, you don't get the opportunity. So take full advantage of that. Scout yourself. What type of player are you? What type of player is Marian getting?
They getting a dog.
Say that again.
They getting a dog.
I like how but see, you initially you said it kind of like, oh, they getting a dog. No, tell them what they getting.
Getting a dog. They getting a competitor. Somebody who's gonna leave it all out on the floor. They just a leader.
Okay. Did the opportunity for playing time factor into your college decision?
Yes.
Keep it a bean. Keep it a bean. I came here because I came to play.
Yeah.
Compete and play,
but mainly like just learn how to do better out on the college level. You always look forward. When you're in high school, you look how you play on the college level. When you're in grade school, you look how you play on the high school level. So stuff like that.
Okay.
And it's nothing wrong. It ain't nothing wrong with competing for your spot, but like you can have your spot, but also still compete.
Okay.
To show why you have that spot.
How will you? This is a big question. How will you adjust to being back at the bottom of the totem pole? Do you know what I mean by that?
What you mean by that?
Think about when you first got to high school freshman year. Like it was a whole new world. Nobody knew you per se, right? Other than maybe your 8th grade friends that you were going into high school with. The teachers didn't know you. The staff didn't know you. The basketball staff may have known you. But you were, like, whether you knew it or not, pimping, you were at the bottom of the totem pole, of the peer totem pole, if you will. You were a freshman. You'll experience that again in college. You're a little more older. Yeah, your mind is a little bit more developed. Your body has changed a little bit. You coming near the hoop, but make no mistake about it. You're at the bottom of the totem pole, as far as your peers and those relationships. Do you think there will be an adjustment for you?
Nah, not really.
Okay.
Because I'm not gonna force nobody. This even off the court, I'm not gonna force nobody to be cool with me or nothing like that. You can be cool with me if you want to.
Okay.
But like when it comes to basketball, I just gotta learn how to talk more and stuff like that.
Okay.
Usually I'm like to myself, I don't really like talking as much, but when it comes to that, I don't talk, I show. I don't talk, I show.
You're a little bit of a different Sagittarius than I am, because I do both.
Yeah.
I show, but then I talk.
Yeah.
And my talking sometimes I feel like people take the wrong way. Like, because I'm very confident. I'm very externally confident in myself, but internally I'm a mess. Like, I go through periods of like, nah, people not gonna like that. Nah, people ain't gonna understand. Nah, but you'll never know it, because I say and I do things with such confidence that it really could be sometimes mistaken for arrogance. But at the end of the day, that's your fucking problem.
True Sagittarius.
That's your problem. And those are conversations that I have with my wife quite often. She's like, well, you should. Like, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. So, what are you most looking forward to when you get to college? You can say it.
Meeting new people.
Yeah. I know what that means. Yeah. I'm sorry, Mama Hill, but it ain't nothing like college jams. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. Protect yourself at all costs. Treat your college life like a boxer. You watch boxing?
Nah, not really.
Not really, but you've watched boxing matches, right? You ever pay attention to when the referee got the 2 boxes there
Yeah.
and he ends his whatever, come out, whatever, protect yourself at all times. You ever heard that before? In college? Protect yourself at all times.
Hey, baby.
And Dad, make sure he got all the boxing gloves he needs. I'm just gonna let you know.
Same thing, got it. You know what I'm
You
saying?
know what I'm saying?
You better go somewhere and sit down. I'm too young to be a grandparent.
I know that's right. But if you teach him, I'm not advocating that at all. I'm teasing. But I mean, we at that age that we gotta accept it. We gotta accept that.
You gotta
And I would rather him understand and learn and have
Absolutely.
questions with me.
Yes.
Like and I recognize how difficult that might be.
Got me
Particularly
first line a little
for
bit.
that subject matter.
That's real.
Oh yeah.
I get it.
It's real.
It's very real. Because, and so because I didn't have that lane with my dad,
Yeah.
and I don't know if he had it with his dad.
Right.
That was one of the things that when I became a father, when that time came, like I prepared, like I was like proactively years preparing. Oh, I can't wait to be able to have those type of conversations because I know how uncomfortable they are. So it was my job to not only make them comfortable, but make them where you were allowed to have them. And so I want him to be able. I mean, that don't just go for sex, bro. That go for drugs.
Everything.
That go for everything. Like everything
Everything.
in life that you're going to face that's uncomfortable. It's important that you hear, learn, and get developed, if you will. Drinking from me. I am the best teacher of that because I went through that. Like that's the one thing. Like you might face a lot of things in life, in college and just in life that your dad may not have. Quite a few. But drugs, sex, alcohol, relationships, those are 4 things that he has absolutely, on some level, has faced. Now, whether or not he has drunk or did drugs, I don't care. He's faced it. He's had to kind of navigate through that. So if you take one thing from this conversation is that just trust that that's one thing that you can absolutely trust your dad with. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, you can trust him with that. So take full advantage of that.
That's love.
What's been your best moment in high school so far, on and off the court?
On and off the court. On the court this season, just this season in general, because I had a lot to prove.
Sure.
I had a lot to prove this season.
Oh, yeah, you've been doing that.
Thank you. With people not seeing me play for a year,
Right.
I just wanted to prove that I do this. Like, I do this for
Okay.
you know.
Okay. Between last year, which you didn't play, and this year, so we'll say maybe your sophomore year. We'll even say last year because you did play AAU and summer ball. But let's just say last year and this year, who was your toughest player to guard? Who gave you buckets? Give them their flowers.
Oh, sophomore. You said sophomore year?
Between sophomore year and this year.
I don't know his name, but it was sophomore year. We was playing regionals and we played against Austin.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was this one dude. I don't know his name, but it was this one dude. He gave us 39, and it was the simplest shots.
Yeah.
And his mid range was just like crazy. And
What
we
about
couldn't
so far
stop.
this year? Who's giving you buckets?
This year, trying to think.
That was one of
Oh.
Coach Troy McGee guys at Austin. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I think it's this kid on Ellison.
Okay.
Yeah, he nice. I don't know his name either,
But he
but
gave you buckets?
he ain't give me buckets, but he was nice.
Okay. All right. Who was barbecue chicken? Who you get buckets to? Name them. Because you just gave somebody 39 a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Is that your career high?
Yeah. Northtown,
Okay.
St. Mel.
Okay. Wait a minute. Your former school?
Yeah.
Oh, that had to feel good.
Yeah.
How many you give them?
39.
That was the career. You had career high against your former school? I love every minute of that. Was it the same coach?
No, I wasn't the same.
Damn, that would have felt even better. Where he end up going? You know?
Actually, he ended up leaving the whole educational space completely.
And then Elmwood Park.
Okay.
Elmwood Park.
That St. Melvin, I know that felt good.
Yeah, it did. We should have won though, but yeah, those 3.
Okay. All
Those
right.
3.
Name your all-time NBA team. 6 starters and a 6-man.
6 starters and a 6-man.
5 starters. I'm sorry. 5 starters and a 6-man.
Derrick Rose.
Okay, 1.
D-Wade,
2,
Paul George,
3,
power forward. Kevin Garnett,
4.
Hakeem Olajuwon,
Ooh, Pops, you told him well. 5, who your 6th man?
Rajon Rondo.
Okay, that's a first.
Yeah, that's a lot of firsts on here.
Yeah, that's a first. Pop, name your 5 and your 6.
What? Tim Hardaway
1.
at the point. Michael Jordan.
2, you got to say Mike.
For sure.
Go ahead.
Dominique.
3. Ooh.
Shaq.
Ooh, 4.
Nice.
And
Dominique is the first.
yeah, gotta have Neek, man. He was different.
Who's your
and
5?
Ray Allen.
5, and who's your 6th man?
I gotta go with Big Ticket.
Okay.
Kevin Garnett, because he's gonna make sure that, you know, all them guys, man, let me get some of that,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Come on, Lord.
I like that.
Oh,
Mine's
KG
is,
different, baby.
yeah, KG is
KG
different.
different.
I'm
Big
trying to.
Ticket is different, bro.
We already had Ronnie up here. I definitely want to get Ticket up
Yeah,
here, and I'm trying to get Coach
absolutely.
Wolf up here as well.
Yes, indeed.
Mine's is AI, Kobe, MJ, LeBron, Hakeem, and my 6th man is Jamal Crawford.
Ooh, Jay crossover, nasty
Yeah,
with
yeah.
it.
Oh, I know. I love a little something. You know.
For sure.
What's your goals for the remainder of the school season? Basketball and just school in general.
Definitely win conference.
Okay.
Get farther than the last teams. Last year team in regionals.
Okay.
And then school, get back on honor roll. I usually have like a 3.0. Get back on honor roll and just graduate.
Okay. What do you think about the Xposure Runs platform? What it means to the high school athlete?
It means a lot, man. That's how I got put on the map. I really appreciate you for putting me on the map. It lets you play free. First time I got there, I was a little nervous. Just seeing like dudes I see on like social media, but I just realized they lace their shoes up the same way I do.
Same way.
And they just go to bigger schools. So it was definitely a nice event, and I advise if you ever get invited, just go, because you'll learn a lot of stuff. College coaches will be there, so it's a great event, and I'm glad it got created and it put me on the map.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say like I'm mad that you signed. I'm happy for you. I'm really happy for you. I was 100% looking forward to inviting you to the Unsigned Senior event. Like it was like you were going to be the highlight of the event. But I'm super happy that you signed. Like good for you. Do you think? Do you honestly think? And I don't want you to answer this like as just because you're talking to me. Do you honestly think that the Xposure Run Showcase, because you put on the show out there. I had never seen you play, so I only had to go off the word of your dad, and you know I trust your dad. And look, my son, you know, a lot of fathers like my son can play, and then they get out there, and they got 2 left feet. But your dad kept telling me, man, my son can play. But it's like, okay, all right, we're gonna say I'm gonna invite him to this thing, and we're gonna see. And you didn't surprise your dad, and maybe you did with how much better you probably played. You surprised me in that I had never seen you play before. I'm like, oh, damn, okay. But I know for a fact that there are a lot of people there, bloggers and writers and videographers and coaches that were like, who the fuck is this? Do you think that the showcase helped with your recruiting?
Yes, most definitely. Most definitely helped with my recruiting. It just helped coaches see what I can actually do rather than words I can show. That's the main thing for me. I just like to show my talent, and it definitely helped me.
So
Definitely put me on the map.
I've been saving this to tell. I think I told your dad. I gotta look back at my texts, but there were 2 coaches specifically at the showcase, right? And it doesn't matter now because you signed, so great. There were 2 coaches specifically that pointed out to me how well they thought you carried yourself, how well you played. They were like, who is this? And I'm like, sit your ass down and watch. You know what I'm saying? But they have spoken very highly of you, just the way that you carried yourself, particularly off the court. Like 2 coaches specifically came up to me, and one of them, I knew one of them already because he had come to the event last year. The other one I didn't really know, and I felt like I not so much blew him off, but like he was like trying to get at me while I was like doing stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to be respectful and listen to his ear, but I just remember what he said, and he really spoke so highly of Kris, very highly of.
Wow.
It was Kris, It was he spoke highly of damn, who was the other player he spoke about? What is his name? Fuck, I can't remember. But then he also said to me, because this was right after I had made the announcement of like, yo, y'all playing like shit out here. And I was talking specifically about a high level guard out there that I just didn't really like the way he was. And he was like, man, yeah. He was like, that's how the conversation was like, well, I know you can't be talking about Kris. I'm like, what?
Why does what Kris came on? He's like, man, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
I'm doing everything?
Yeah.
And that's one thing that over the years, Kris always like, why they group me into that? I'm not that one that's doing that. I said, son, a lot of times that's just how it goes.
It's just a generalized thing.
Yeah.
But I was talking about somebody specific, a couple players specific, but one in general. But when I said that, after I kind of was coming off, he was like, you can't be talking. That's how the conversation started. You can't be talking about Kris. And I was like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, because Kris, I mean, I got right down here in my notes. Like, I'm like, oh, okay. And then he got to talking. Yeah,
That's
so
love.
two coaches, they loved you.
Can we name coaches' names on here?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I know one of those coaches specifically was Coach Bodie from Wabanzi.
Damn it. That's
our guy right there.
Yeah,
and you know
he loves you. And I haven't talked to him since you signed, but I know he probably cried in the shower.
Yeah, that whole you know, that process, that journey of making decisions. That was, you know, he was one of the first coaches that really at the college level, any level of college ball, that was just like, your son has this, and that. We would love to have him. Shout out to Coach Bodie, his staff.
Indeed. Like shout out to him.
Yeah, Coach Lance, all those guys.
He was one of the first college coaches that responded last year to coming to the unsigned senior event, and like, you know, I talked to him pretty frequently, either through DM or text, and he's like, yo, anytime you got something, I'm coming, because like I know I'm going to find somebody at your event.
Oh man!
And so I don't really care about the level. Like I know the kids do, and that's cool. That's cool. I just care about just putting them in a position to have an opportunity.
Absolutely.
And then you take it from there.
Yeah.
And so shout out to Kris, man. Like, he's a great guy.
Man. I think that's one of the, you know, going through this whole journey and process and just watch Kris mature. Even now, I'm like, wow, that's good. That's good. But to know that he's able to represent himself and the family well as the village. You know, you got individuals that are putting their names out there saying, okay, it's time to show and prove. You know, as parents, we want to make sure our kids get to the table, but it's up to our kids to eat.
It is up there now, and that's your hashtag. Stay hungry but eat well. Right? I pay attention, bro. I pay attention. That's what you talked about is the family down there, like the representation of the Hill family. For Xavier, it's the representation of the Suleiman family.
Yeah.
And then, you know, just kind of being out there, but it's also like people in your village, right? Making sure that when I'm in spaces, or Bo is in spaces, or whoever's in spaces, that they can speak about you, because we consider ourselves a part of your village. And so when we speak about you, and then you're out there representing what we are speaking about, that's big. It's like, now our word means something. Like, the parents are supposed to do what they're supposed to do for their kids. They're supposed to sell. They're this family salesman. But it's other people who you have put yourself in position to have some type of relationship with, and how you represent yourself means like, these guys are
advocates. Advocates.
Big time advocates.
One thing also, Moo, is that I'll never forget, Kris was playing with our Drive Elite, Coach Marian team. They were out at the Old Bull Sox Academy. And, you know, Bryce Shoto?
Daryl and Bryce.
Yeah, so Daryl was there watching their other son play. Bryce was on the sideline, I'll never forget. And Kris was playing with Drive Elite. And, man, you know, I'm his biggest fan.
Of course.
He was putting on a show. He was doing everything right. They ended up winning the Consolation Championship or whatever. After one of those games against Daryl's son, his other son, he was like, hey, man, this your son? I was like, so he was already talking to Kris. So I came over. You know how to post games at AAU tournaments. He was talking to Kris. He said, hey, man, from what I see with your son, he can play at the next level. Yeah. And Daryl poured a lot into just Kris at that time. Bryce was there. Even to this day, I was just texting Daryl last night, and again, it goes back to that village, right? Being able to have individuals that can speak on your behalf, advocates. He connected us with our guy AR, because we need to make sure that. And I remember you reached out.
I remember you reached out to me. What I thought about AR. Shout out to AR. He does great work.
Yep.
Daryl is a great resource to have. A great person to have in your corner.
Yes, indeed.
his son Bryce. I met them through the other person who I was dealing with when I first started off or whatever. And I remember when that whole thing happened with me and this guy. Let me tell you what Daryl did. And actually, he just did this.
Super smooth brother, man.
He just did this maybe about a month or two prior to me being let go. I was pulling into the Panera Bread to pick up food, and I hadn't talked to him in a while, right? He would respond on the social media or whatever. But he called me. He actually called me.
Yeah.
And it kind of it surprised me a little bit. Like I'm like, oh, why is Daryl Shuttle? You know, it was like one of the things like, this is interesting. Like,
what's up with this?
Yeah, what's up with this? And so I was like, hey, it's like, I know I still got your number saved in my phone. And people were like, oh, is this? So I was like, what's going on, Daryl? He's like, we get to talking, and then he kind of almost stopped mid conversation. He's like, I actually called. It was on my heart, and I needed to call you to apologize. All right, this is 2023. This is 2023. And what happened in 2020 or 2021. He said, I'm calling you to apologize. And I said, call me to apologize. My first thought was like, but Daryl, I haven't spoken to you in quite some time. Like, what? Like, why are you apologizing for what?
Right.
And he was like, when that situation happened with you and Buddy, I should have did more. I should have stepped up. I should have kind of controlled that a little bit. I didn't like what was going on. I saw it. And I just kind of wanted to stay out of it.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't have. And it's been really eating at me for all these years. First of all, this is the first time anything like this has ever happened to me. Like people, I usually, as a secretary, you usually got to beat an apology out of somebody, verbally and actually.
Yeah.
But this is the first time anybody had just called me out of the clear blue sky.
Yeah.
He's like, I should have did more. I didn't like what was happening. I decided to stay out of it. He was like, I had a relationship. And I don't remember if he said he still does, but like I had a relationship with this guy, and I kind of put that relationship before. And I didn't really know you, and I saw what you were doing, and I thought it was great, Right. But I owe you an apology. I should have said, and I should have done more. Yeah. That showed me more about the character of him.
Yeah.
And it really set a bar for me about people in general for accountability.
Yeah, yeah. When you talk to Daryl, man, he'll make you think.
Oh, he does all the time. He does all the time.
Okay.
Listen, Daryl's a great guy. He's a great guy.
Yeah, for sure.
For somebody who I don't know Daryl really well. He doesn't know me really well outside of the basketball circle, which, as we know, that basketball circle is very like tight knit.
No doubt.
We don't really know each other outside of that.
Right.
We get glimpses of each other's character based off of what we do when they pour into our children.
Absolutely.
When I pour into other people's children. So that's the glimpse of what we have of each other as far as knowing each other. But for him to call me like that and to like offer that really. I almost kind of cried. Like it really kind of men don't do that.
Right.
We're not known for doing that.
Right.
And so
exactly.
it really meant a lot to me.
Integrity, man.
Integrity, accountability, character. That really meant a lot.
Yeah.
Last two things. In Islam, I know your dad knows, but I'm Muslim. Our family believes in Islam, we believe that our children pick us as parents. That's what we believe. Like even though that's when you think about the scientificness of it, that's virtually impossible, right? Like how does he pick? But we do. We believe that. I want you to talk about your family, what it means to you to know that you picked your mom and dad to guide you and to lead you and to love you, and I want you to talk about what it means knowing that Kris picked you as his father.
You want to go first? No, you first, man. Age before beauty.
My family. Wait, you mean like how much they mean to me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they mean the world to me. They keep me going. It's a lot of stuff that we've all been through in my family, so it's like just to know that they keep on pouring into me in love, and I have somebody I can always trust. Those three, they mean the world to me from the bottom of my heart. Yeah.
Go. Pop.
Receive love. Privileged, honored to be selected.
Say that first word again.
Privileged, honored
Y'all don't realize how much it means to us being your dads.
Oh man,
y'all really don't get it.
It's like one of the biggest flexes ever.
Fatherhood is one of the best.
Man,
go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish. Damn, I actually just.
And you're right, man. It just, and then knowing that I was selected to be the steward over and in his life, in my family's life. You know that it's almost unexplainable, man. You know, it gets to the point to where you think about what they say. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here. Mm-hmm. And you keep coming back.
You keep coming back. So I'm doing something right.
Exactly. You know, even on off payday periods. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but yeah, it's truly an honor and a privilege to be in his life, watch his journey. My daughter, my wife, just to continue. They don't realize how much they give back to us.
They don't.
It's amazing.
Some of it is because we don't say, but a lot of it is because we don't really know how to put it into words.
Right.
We wasn't groomed to be like speakers of feelings. That's just not. It's something that we're learning over time with this whole, mental health thing and all that other shit. But like when you think about how we were raised, whether we had our fathers or not, just the generation, that's not something that we're taught a lot of shit, but we never really are taught how to speak our feelings because first of all, it's taboo, and second of all, like society doesn't really accept that. It's not really allowed. So, but when we get an opportunity to do so. It's like a dam is bursting.
For sure, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm talking about it gets to the point to where our family group text. Good morning. We walking through the house speaking to each other because it's like, wait a minute. We greeting each other like it's the first time we've seen each other. I make sure I hug and kiss Christopher daily. Tell him I love him. They have to hear that. They have to feel it. Especially, we know how we treat our wives, our daughters. Our sons, we have to do that almost double because they need to be able to. They see us loving our wife. They see us loving our daughter. But guess what? I need to be able to pour into you as well. I got to tell you, I love you, son. I give him a peck on the cheek. At first, he was like, "Man, what are you doing? Boy, come over here. I love you, boy." And I mean that. It's unconditional love.
Let me say something.
I don't care if you just woke up and your breath smelled like tap that.
Before my father died, one of the last conversations that I had with him, so my dad's house and most Muslim houses, you have a prayer room where we make salat at. And so after we prayed one day, we were sitting there, and I actually said to my dad, like, we had just got done praying and we sitting there, and I'm like, yo, I know that you love me. Like, because your actions show it. You feed me, you clothe me, you know what I'm saying? You discipline me, whatever.
Absolutely.
But you've never told me that you love me. Like, I've never heard my dad say this. And it threw him off. So like, he was like, what? Initially, it was kind of like, where this shit coming from? But then he was like, well, I do. And, I appreciate it. Was almost, he didn't say this, but it was almost like, I appreciate you bringing that to my attention.
Yeah,
but I
hold me
do.
accountable to that.
I do. But that moment is where I made the conscious decision that when I have kids, that it will never be a day that goes by that Xavier and Zayden doesn't know that I love them because I tell them.
Absolutely. You don't have to wonder.
Day. You'll never have to wonder. You may wonder if I got money in my pocket, but you'll never have to wonder if I love you. Yeah. Every day I drop Ziggy off, damn near every day, when I hear from Zay, like I tell them, like that's something that when you go out into the real world, when you go off to college, and you'll get a lot of fake love and you fake this, fake that. That shit ain't fake from home. Your mom and your dad and your sister, they love you. And I think it's pretty dope, the type of relationship you and your dad got. Yeah. I think it's pretty dope.
Definitely all love.
And it's definitely needed. And, when y'all get to that age and you get a chance to really because it's coming, you're giving him, you're spoon feeding him that even though that lane is open for you to kind of talk freely, you're spoon it. It's going to get to a point where y'all going to have those conversations. It's kind of like, I'm forcing it on Xavier. I'll send him stuff in his DM on Instagram. I send him
You pushing the envelope?
I'm pushing. I'm pushing. I'm pushing. Right. So now, we got one with me and my wife on Instagram. Then we got a family one. Yeah. And then it's me and Zay, right?
For sure.
I probably this week I'm gonna start really, but I'll send him. I've been sending him little raunchy little things, mainly with cursing or this that. But now I'm about You've seen my Instagram.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You know, my search joint be the little.
I've been on my son too.
I'm about to start sending him things. I want to see his reaction because usually when I send him something along those edges, he'll send the skeleton face like he did.
Yeah.
I'm looking for. I want to see what he's gonna start doing. I start sending the Instagram models with the. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let me chill. I don't want to get them in trouble.
What happens after you experience get your son a lot older?
Yeah.
They still see you as not only dad, you my mama husband. You ain't supposed to think like that. You ain't supposed to see that.
Well, no, I'm gonna sit up there.
So funny that you mentioned that, and then I gotta give Kris this last thing. Celeste says she pointed this out to me one day. This gonna fuck you up, and it's gonna fuck you because I wanted to see if your dad does this. Celeste said one day, she's like, "Why you always walk out the room like that after the fact?" And I'm like, "What you mean?"
They got to learn.
So I'm like, walk out the room like what you mean? Walk out like what? She like every time you walk out the room, like the way you walk. So like our room is this way, and Zay's room is to the right.
You a savage.
She said I walk out the room like real husky, and I always just like kind of look back in his room like that. And she's like, I'm like, I never. She said, no, you do it every time. I was like, well, I want that nigga to know I'm taking his mom down. What the fuck did you talk about?
You got to learn.
I don't want no smoke.
You gotta learn.
Hey,
you gotta learn.
Be walking up on me like, hey man, I'm like, look, fella, you better calm down.
You better calm down.
Yeah,
You better calm down. All right, lastly, before we go, your dad walk around the house after that? Like that?
Easy.
You don't want to talk about it? Next question. I'm just here so I don't get fined. Last thing, bro, I want you to give yourself a future message. Look into the camera, and when you see this in the next few months, next few years, what message you want to give yourself?
The message I want to give myself is always just keep going, bro. Like, just keep going. Don't give up. You're going to go through rough stuff in life, but it's like, what is this one quote? It's always light at the end of the tunnel. Sure. And you're always it's gonna work out no matter how hard it gets right now. Just keep on working, and you're gonna find happiness later in life. So,
Pop, give your boy a message for the future.
Christopher, I knew that this time would come to where you would see Christopher as I've always seen Christopher. Stop hating on Christopher, continue to believe in Christopher, and remember I told you, make it happen.
gotcha.
Make it happen. All right, this has been one of our longest one, but most fun podcasts. I do appreciate you guys being on the show. It really means a lot to me, D, that you are very supportive of the platform, that you have allowed me into your son's space, because if you are, which I know you are, like me as a father, everybody doesn't get the privilege of being in my child's space.
Absolutely.
I don't care basketball. You just don't get that. It's a privilege to be in my child's space. It's a privilege to be in my space.
That's part of the village.
And so, like, I definitely appreciate that. I know for a fact, because it's gotten back to me, that you've made hella phone calls and had hella conversations as it relates to me, Mustafa, and what we're doing as far as the Xposure Runs platform. So I really appreciate that. Kris, in case I don't, which I know I will, in case I don't speak to you between now and the time that you go off to college, every lesson, every talk, everything that you could possibly need as it relates to conversations that you have with your mom and your dad and your sister, hold on to them as tight as possible, because we are not guaranteed the next second of our life. Not tomorrow, not the day after, the next second of our life. At some point, and I'm now in the space of preparing Xavier, we ain't gonna be around.
Yeah.
Right? And I know that's scary to hear and very like, damn, that's kind of deep, but we're not. That's the reality of it. We're not gonna be around. So our job is to like really prepare you for what life is like without us.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what these lessons are now becoming, is preparation for life without us. And so, like, every talk that you and your dad have, whether you want to hear it or not, whether, every moment that y'all get to spend, like, you have to, whether you write it down, like you said you write, but you got to put it in a compartment of, being able to draw from it at some point, Right, these memories are really important, man. So thank you guys both.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
man. Moo and Bo, this is love right here, man. You know, it's part of you all are definitely part of our village, and we all know that it takes a lot to raise a child, and having great resources like yourselves and individuals with integrity, it means a lot. So we appreciate you all.
We don't take this responsibility lightly.
We don't. At all.
Especially when it comes to dealing with fathers,
Yeah.
and our young black boys. We don't take because we are fathers who have young black boys.
Yeah.
But we don't take this responsibility lightly, and it's one of those things that we really like. We are very mindful of that, and it's really important
Yeah.
for me. Like this is, sometimes this is therapy for me.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? To get a chance to talk to y'all and just kind of, get people's different perspectives on, developing their child and, what they think. And then hearing from y'all. Like, this space is for y'all. This is really for y'all. This ain't for us. So.
And it's intentional, so that's...
Oh, it's very intentional.
Yeah.
It's very
That's
intentional.
the beautiful part.
With that being said, we're going to get out of here, man. I want to give a shout out. I got to put it at the beginning like right. Because I got confronted. Right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, yeah. Let me give a shout out to my son, Ziggy.
Hey, Big Zig. Yes, sir.
Let me give a shout out to my son
Boss.
Ziggy. Yeah, the literally.
Boss, for sure.
He told me yesterday that I was capping, and I said, do you even know what that means? Yes, it means that you're lying. Oh, okay. Because he asked me to go to McDonald's, and I said I ain't have McDonald's money. He told me you're capping.
He know you got it on you.
So shout out to my son Ziggy. Of
Big
course,
Zig.
his brothers Xavier, Zay. Shout out to Bo, AGM Plus. Shout out to my guy Numerex. I'm rocking the hat today. Tyree Booker. Of course, shout out to SVI.
For sure.
Anthony and Grant Leach, who is our official sponsor, apparel and otherwise. Shout out to Derek Ellison, the National Director of Scouting and a consultant for Mag Urban Fire, Shy Prep, and Example Academy, a.k.a. The Bone Collector.
The Bone Collector, a.k.a. The Plug.
A.k.a. The Plug.
For sure.
And then, of course, shout out to Ryan Forehand, my partner with the Chi-Town Showcase, with the upcoming March 30th Unsigned Senior Showcase.
That's going to be lit.
It's going to be lit. It's
Yeah.
going to be lit. And I just got the flyer. I'm about to start sending out to coaches. Last year we had 50. I'm going for 100.
It'll happen.
So,
It'll happen.
thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
See y'all on the next episode.
Don't leave me hanging.
Don't leave me hanging.
Oh, my bad.